What's up, everybody? I am Steve. With me is Josh and Drew. Mike is taking the night off. So we're going to talk about the game and some other things. But before we do that, Drew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Rebounding well from December surgery, so you know, I'm doing. I'm just achy most of the time. Half of it's getting old, and half of it's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You know,
as anybody that watched
stuff.
or listened last week knows that, yes, we are a group of old guys, and I got mocked mercilessly for getting old. But it's fine. Josh, how about you? What's been going on?
Good, yeah. Night and day compared to last week as far as the weather that we experienced for tailgates on Saturday. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Had no issues with tents blowing over or hail coming down right when I was trying to set up a tent. Merch flying off the table. It was really hectic, the home opener. But yeah, this tailgate was pretty nice. So no complaints there.
Nice. Yeah, no, the weather was absolutely great this weekend. I mean, today a little cold and damp, but yesterday was fantastic. Got to go out, Josh. I think you'll be happy to hear, and go for a hike yesterday. So that was kind of one of the highlights. And just spend some time around the brewery this weekend, catch up with some people that I haven't seen in a while. One of my buddies was playing this afternoon, so I was down there for a little bit for that. So it was kind of good, a good weekend, I think. So, guys, we've got a game to talk about, but we've also got some fun things to talk about. So let's see what Laura Ellen has to say.
And now, hey, sir, 1 minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
We won. Can you believe it? 100 wins at Highmark. Lily, 120 wins. Can you believe it? Okay, I have 6 points, so I need to get through them quickly. First, Jackson Walty, we do not deserve you. Thank you for continuing to hustle. Yes, I wrote all 6 of my points down. Jackson Walty, don't deserve him. Keep him forever. End zone, whatever their keeper's name is, don't like them, can't stand them, don't like their attitude, would love to never see them again. Great. Also, Birmingham's jerseys, so ugly. The sleeves are weird. I don't like them. Not fun. Riverhounds, please go to the ball. Go to the ball throughout the entirety of the game. Don't just stand there. Don't just, even when you're winning, go to the ball. Torres, I understand that he was on their team, but how did he play throughout the entire game with that head injury? Also, Eric Dick, what is happening with his decision making? Some of those times that he came out, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Yes, I understand this was a win. Go Hounds. I have my 6 points. Those are my 6 points.
This has been Hey Sir, 1 minute reactions with Laura Ellen.
I love them every single time. This is becoming my favorite part. But I just want to do one thing first, real fast. I need to get that victory beverage.
And Josh, you get to do that because, as Laura Ellen said, we got the 2-0 win. We got 3 points, which is half the points of Laura Ellen's points, but 3 points for the Hounds is absolutely great. It was a win, and I think it was a really, really good win. Came off of goals from Robbie Mertz and Danny Griffin, which I think is just astounding to see. The guys that a few years ago, young guys trying to make their way in the league, have established themselves as leaders on this team, captain and co-captain, but coming up big, and 2 really, really nice goals. So let's talk a little bit more about what we liked about the game, or maybe what we didn't like. So Drew, give me a takeaway.
I'm really liking the 60 to 80% of this game where we were actually running a 4-2-3-1. We had a really nice midfield defensive square. We had a really nice midfield forward triangle, and it kept Birmingham on the back foot. I felt like even when they were going forward, they weren't comfortable just because the way the Hounds were able to shift in and out of position and flex around was just making them uncomfortable. And I think I like that. I want to see that against Louisville. Right? Like, not to belittle Birmingham, but Birmingham is not a top 4 team, right? So I'm going to take the win. So this is a plus and minus here, but like I'm liking the way the team is shaping up. I'm really liking the way it's shaping up. I'm really liking the flow. We built on what we started last game, and like I could not be. We should have had, I think, from my count, 6 goals. There was the Walties off the bar, Samples that was just barely saved, Augie's offside, and then one from somebody.
Luke had 2 flicks that
Luke had a flick, at least
like
one.
Absolutely great positioning. The final product, not
just
as
not
you'd like to see.
Etu had a cross that just went right across. Augie had a cross that was begging for somebody to just be there and tap it in. And then there was one Mertz shot where he had Augie wide on the penalty spot.
Oh my God, yes.
Yep.
And that specifically was my we would have had number 6 there. So that was specifically my number 6 there. I was ignoring the crosses, but like literally these little things. And it's a 6-0 win against Birmingham. You know? Yeah.
Okay. That's a big take. I love it. Josh, give me one of your takeaways.
So looking at the stats between this game and Hartford, we had less possession against Birmingham, but more meaningful possession. This one definitely felt like we were attacking better than last game. And I would argue that Hartford's a worse team than Birmingham. At least on average they are. So it doesn't surprise me that much because of, I believe it was Forbes when he was on. He mentioned how Birmingham sat back so much and that it was really hard to break them down because they didn't really go after it. Like they weren't trying to score. And he thought Birmingham would be much more attacking, which would play into our hands a lot better. And true to form, King Kenny, correct. Like I felt like this was definitely a situation where since Birmingham was trying to attack, we were able to slip behind and actually get more opportunities to shoot on goal and have more dangerous possession. And it was great. So I think this game we had like a 50-50 possession about. And the game before against Hartford, it was 62% possession. So definitely a difference in possession, but if all games looked like this, I know it wasn't as sexy as some people wanted. I believe I can't remember who made the comment on socials, but someone mentioned that Hounds don't look fun to watch, but they're definitely set up to win. I was like, winning's fun, so I'll take that any day of the week.
And I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching this game, and for a couple of reasons. I think most importantly, 2 things that stand out to me that, Drew, you talked about this a little bit, the way that the team was set up and how there were those triangles and how that looked really good. But also with that, the fluidity of players moving around to make that work. And the second part of that was I don't know that we were actually that much better in terms of accuracy with our passing. But our passing on the whole was better for moving forward. And I think that for me was a lot of fun to watch because you could see a lot of those plays developing as they were coming. And so then it's just kind of finding a way to hit that last little bit and get on the end of some of those crosses or some of those passes through. And I think that was what was so great about Danny's goal was that he made the run after pulling a defender away and Beto hit him with that pass. And it was a fantastic pass. But also the pass from Robbie right before that as well was just beautiful. And so really liked what I saw passing and player movements throughout the game. Drew, give me another one.
Okay. So this one is a little bit, is going to involve you guys. You guys have some Hounds history in you. And so I'm going to ask you, scoring wise, what would you say the Hounds' best season post-pandemic has been?
Total goals?
Total goals.
Was it Chico? Chico's post.
Oh, no, not just one person. Overall.
I'm going to say it was what year was that? Cicerone's last year. Him and Chico both scored quite a few and we had some other players that scored some goals that year. So what was that, 2021? Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say 2021. I was thinking it would have been no, that one checks out. We'll try, like, my brain's failing me on what year it was when we got the golden boot.
That was 23. We got when Chico got the golden boot.
It was 23. So I was thinking it was probably 23.
Okay. So funny thing, both 21 and 23 we ended with the same amount of goals.
Ooh.
Interestingly,
Go us.
there was only 32 games in 21 and there was 36 games in 23. So in a goals per match, because we're not looking at points per match yet, it's too early. In a goals per match situation, 2021 was our peak. What would you say if I told you that we are currently tied with 2021 in goals per match and goals scored?
Oh, analytics. So way too small of a data set is always the
4 games
flaw.
is not enough.
Yeah. Your data set is tiny, therefore flawed, I would say.
I mean, but after four games, after the last year that we had, I would not have pictured us having,
That's fair.
Yeah. So what I would say to that is it's not enough.
No.
Right.
Like I said, we should have had 6 goals this game.
Right. That what I've seen with the team this year and with what Bob is doing is that he's really trying to make some differences in how we go attacking. He has talked about this, I think, in a few different places, but he's okay with being a little less solid defensively if it means the team is scoring more goals. Because I think he thinks that the team being able to score goals, score more consistently is on average going to win more points throughout the season than just locking things down. Right. And so you're talking about that. Right. And so a goal per game, that is typical Bob Lilly. And if we don't outscore those seasons this year, then I think we've not seen what this system and what this plan coming to fruition and what it can do. And so I'd be disappointed if we're not well above that this year.
Yeah, I don't want to see our years be our matches be 1-0 victories all season, which is the Bob Lilly special that we would always joke about back in the day. But I don't feel like it's been that way for a while now, as far as like what we should be expecting, what we do expect. I still expect a clean sheet from a Bob Lilly team, but I expect at least 2 goals. So it's gotten a lot better as far as what I expect from Lilly era. But it's still, I wouldn't expect like a blowout 4 or 5, goal to nothing type of game.
I mean, hey, we have them every 2 or 3 seasons, once a year. So maybe this is a year where we get that, and hopefully it's not an isolated incident. Josh, give me another takeaway.
It was the match of the short kings. I've argued this. The argument is Danny Griffin being 5'9", which, I mean, that's what he has on the website. I'm questioning it, but besides that, 5'9", does that count as a short king?
I mean, I'm going to say no. I think that Danny is probably slightly taller than me, and I'm 5'8". And I'm going to say no, because I have contended for most of my life as an adult that I am globally average.
So I think if we're looking at a normal human, yeah. But when we're looking at, I think it was last year, I don't remember whether it was Detroit or Louisville. Their shortest player was taller than everybody but 2 of our players, one of which was Mr. Rudolph. And the other one was Matt Hogan.
Yeah, I was saying, Rudolph, that's a big boy. Okay, well, here's the thing, though. I will say, for a soccer player, I think he's probably short. And for a Lilly team, I think he's on the shorter side. Usually Lilly's teams do gear taller. And the only people holding that back is usually Mertz, Danny Griffin, and Rovey back in the day. But
okay, so that's really interesting because I want to like vehemently disagree with that statement because I think that those are the guys that Bob brings in and sticks with and goes with, and then he looks for guys that are tall to compensate for that. And
Did
so
not
he gets
expect to
one
see
or
the
two tall
conversation.
guys to like put in the defense, right?
All right. Well, this has probably gone far
We
enough.
have a
for
lot
my
more
short
than one or
Kings
two
comment.
tall guys
Yeah.
though this year.
Yeah, no, but I think you're right, Josh, in that the guys that were making the difference are not the guys that you expect to be in the box making some of those plays. And so, I mean, I think we've said this, right? It was great to see those guys find those goals. I think the other big takeaway from me is do things change when Jacqueline gets back? Because I really liked the way that Augie was playing. But I'm really disappointed that he wasn't getting on the end of anything and getting quality shots. And his best chance came on the ball that he got called offsides on that was called out. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that this is the team still trying to find a way to get him involved? Do you think that this is he doesn't fit the system? Do you think that getting a high quality winger in on the other side of Junior is going to help? Give me your thoughts on Augie and what you saw and what you hope to see, or your thoughts on where this can go or not go.
I'll take first. I'll just say I think it's working as intended right now as far as the system we have in place, because Augie is drawing those defenders.
Mm-hmm.
He might not be getting the goals, but I definitely think he's creating the space for like Mertz and everyone else to kind of get in. But I don't think that's going to be the case all season. I do think once Jackson gets healthy and he's on the field, we're going to see a different dynamic there. It's not going to be as much on Augie or like, trying to get all the defenders. They're going to have to get both of them, and that's going to cause both of them to be open more often. So I don't think what we're seeing right now is on Augie. I think it's more on the fact that we don't have as much threats up top, so it's harder for him to be free because they're just focusing in on him.
I think that's fair.
I'm going to add to that, actually. Last year we talked about how we just didn't have that target man striker, and it was really showing because we had Keys up there, we had Sterling for a little bit up there. Whoever we put up there was immediately double teamed, and we just fell apart as a result, right? Where are our goals going to come from? Well, that's not this year's team. That is the exact opposite of this year's team. So everybody is looking at the Pittsburgh Riverhounds and saying, let's double team that top guy. Pittsburgh can't score. They've got nobody else to score. And so I'm counter to Steve, your earlier point. I expect the goals to be coming from our captain and vice captain because they're in that advanced position. And actually, I think that A, everything is working as intended, and B, this is putting up red flags for teams who are saying, oh, this is Pittsburgh, we'll just double team their target man. No, now they're thinking, okay, now we need to figure out who out of these 3-4 guys we need to double team and mark, and then we're going to see Augie get open. We're going to see Sample get more and more. He almost had a goal in his comeback game. I mean, like amazing. Okay, we're going to see him get more. We saw Jackson Walty take a shot that if it hadn't ricocheted down and out off the crossbar would have been in. Like literally a difference of a half inch, and that was a goal, right? So we are, if you're facing the Hounds, you're saying, oh, hang on, their midfield is scoring. This is not the Hounds of last year where they couldn't figure it out. This is a brand new and much scarier Hounds team. This is a whole new beast.
Steve, what about your thoughts? What do you think?
I mean, I think that, yeah, like I said, I really like what I see from what Augie is doing. I think he's been fantastic on the press. He's forced a lot of turnovers or a lot of poor passes that then result in the player collecting the ball, turning it over when somebody else tackles them. And that's really, really good. I mean, we saw it last week, and I think we saw it this week, that he is creating that space. It just, for me, is if that's all we see from him all season, we could have saved a lot of money, kept Eddie Kizza, and spent that money elsewhere. So it has to change at some point. And I think what for me is most concerning is in a lot of the conversations I've had with a lot of people, it's like, okay, but he'll be better once Jockeson gets back. He'll have more opportunities. And that's problematic for me in the sense that if we're relying on Augie being able to hit his best with one other player that hasn't been able to play, that to me says we're not building a team that's successful, because if one of them gets hurt, then we're kind of in the same position again, right? And so we've got to find good ways for players like O'Toole or Borgie to get into positions where they're opening up those same kinds of spaces, so that we're not just relying on a front pair of Williams and Jockeson. So that's where I kind of come down on it.
That's fair.
Yeah. Josh, you got another one?
Laura Ellen touched on it a little bit, but Dick, I don't think he's had his best games this season, but I will say clean sheet, obviously no complaints there. He didn't have much to do in this game. I think this is kind of like the Lilly system of old, where we're seeing defense being a complete team situation, not just on the black couple and on Dick. So he is going to he's going to get these clean sheets, and it's not all because of how well he's playing. But I do think he hasn't had the best season so far, I will say.
Okay. Yeah. And so Drew, I know you've got one more that's stats based.
I do have another stat based thing. We actually had a record last night that kind of sailed under the radar for a lot of people. And I'm going to preface this with only 2 Hounds so far have had 20 goals and 20 assists in their career with the Riverhounds in the USL Championship. You guys know who they are?
I mean, is it Forbes?
No, Forbes only has 18 goals.
Oh, he only got 18.
He only has 18 goals.
Although,
if you're for all of you out there immediately looking at Transfer Market is wrong. Transfer Market has incorrectly credited a Dos Santos goal from, I believe it's 2021, to Canardo Forbes, and that belongs to Dos Santos.
Wow.
Sorry.
I'm going to guess. I don't know. This is a little bit before my time, so I'm not sure on the assist side, but Corey Herzog.
No
way. Can I say Kerr? That's a long shot as well.
Yes.
Okay, Kerr is one of them, and I mean, is it Chico?
It's not Chico.
Okay, then I got nothing.
Does he sit on the bench a lot now? Okay,
Cicerone. Okay, yeah,
I believe it's Cicerone. I could be.
I didn't think
it was
Russ
actually
had
it was actually on the jumbotron before the game.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Okay.
Yep. And the next closest player is Mr. Robbie Mertz, who entered the game with 18 goals and 16 assists, and added 1 goal to tie Mr. Kenny Forbes.
Nice.
For Hounds goals in the league.
And so Kenny was 1 away.
Kenny was 2 goals away.
2 goals away.
He has 18 goals in the league proper, not including playoffs. Okay. Not including playoffs and not including his miscredited goal, according to Transfer Market. Mertz now ties with Kenny for most goals, or goal scorer as a Hound in the league. Which is cool. Like, that's an insane milestone.
Yeah.
Like, that's an incredible milestone. That's great.
And so there are how many players that have scored more goals total?
I think that moves, if I'm not mistaken, that moves Robbie to number 10.
Okay.
Nice.
All time. I need to double check that, but I believe that makes him number 10. Actually,
I think what is most amazing about that is, he's been around for quite a while with the Hounds now at this stage. But he's not an out goal scorer. And so for him to be that high up on the overall list is, I mean, absolutely commendable. So good job, Robbie.
Yeah. I mean, and this is game to celebrate Robbie, I think, a lot, because I thought Mertz had a hell of a game. That first goal was fantastic. Really, it was a poacher's goal, kind of like it you know, was deflected or blocked, I guess, and then came back out to him, and he just put it away, which it's half the battle is just being in the right place, and he was in the right place. And he also was able to just finish it off, and we need that. So that was fantastic. But also just his passes in general and the way he was on the field. Like even the Griffin goal, you know, he didn't get the assist, but he was the assist before the assist. And it was a very impressive pass that he got off to get it into open space there. So yeah, he had a fantastic game.
Yeah.
I do need to issue a correction. It is not Cicerone who had 20 assists.
Okay. I was surprised with the assist, but who was it?
Is Flavius.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hall of Famer for a reason.
So I think, Josh, you're also like you're talking about all or a lot of the things that Robbie did right, and they're all 100% correct. But the best part of Robbie's game for me last night was none of those things, and it was his set pieces. That he was hitting our players' heads with almost pinpoint accuracy on every time the ball was kicked from the corner or a free kick. And it was absolutely beautiful. And so I joked in the player ratings. So if you haven't seen the player ratings, go over to our Substack, go look at the player ratings. Justin and I coordinated them on those this week without Mike being able to watch the game because of his family commitments. But I'll rip off what I wrote right from there. That did Robbie sneak into Kenny's house and steal his boots and get that touch in this offseason? Because it's not just last night for me. It's that his set pieces in all of these first four games have absolutely been stellar. And it is something that I think makes a huge difference and gives us the chance to really do well from those positions, whether it's free kicks, outside the box, corner kicks, whatever, that he is just really hitting those. And it's amazing to see how much he's grown in that. So any other things that either of you saw?
I mean, I still think we have to talk about Griffin's goal as well, because Griffin's goal was just like he put himself in danger with that goal, and it was highly appreciated. I actually was down at that end of the field at that moment, near the what do you call it? The IC Mango corner area box thing, shipping container. And so I was over there hanging out and seeing that ball come in, looking at him coming at it, and then Van Oekel coming at it. And I was like, which one's going to blink first? Neither of them blinked. And then Robbie just got there a fraction of a second before Van Oekel was able to put it away. And that was fantastic.
Yeah. It was, I think, the type of goal that you absolutely love to see. I mean, we already talked about the buildup on it from Robbie getting that ball, sublime pass to Beto with the line splitting pass of that defense, right to the right spot. And I think that was one of the things with some of that player movement and even some of the changes in where players were expected to play after the subs, him stepping up and his ability to pass and pass well for a guy that is coming out of college, for him to get, granted, he's played some time with the Puerto Rican national team, but in his first professional season in the USL, to make that kind of pass 4 games in is just absolutely amazing and really makes me excited for what we're going to see out of him for the rest of the season. But you're right. I mean, Danny had so much guts, and it's a beautiful goal. I mean, the finish on it as well, right? Like to not just get there first, but to make sure it got in the back of the net was absolutely sublime. Drew, last takeaway? Anything?
I mean, I'm very excited to see where this team goes from here. I'm very excited for a new turf on our in our stadium. So just to recap, so that was 100 wins at Highmark Stadium.
Yes.
That was Bob's 120
120th,
something
I think.
win.
Yeah.
So he's
with the
5
Hounds.
away.
Or
with the Hounds.
Yeah,
with the Hounds. So we're like, we thought last year was going to be a record season, and here we are. We've celebrated Kenny Forbes. We're about to start celebrating Robbie Mertz, and Bob's about to definitely cement himself in the foundation of the future of this team. Like,
I think he already has, but yes, I agree.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like setting massive milestones that are going to just sit for ages, right? Setting records.
Yeah.
Like, we thought last year was our record year. This year is shaping up to be our record year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be excited about this year.
I do have one thing. So I did some careful math. Sorry.
You did math.
I did math. So it appears
Tell me your math.
that 5% of Pittsburgh is covered in water. The other 9% apparently is covered by Jackson Walty.
Slow clap going on from Steve.
Josh, thanks for narrating what's happening on screen for the people that only listen.
In case you're
I
listening.
had a note right here to make sure I said that, and I completely skipped my note because I was so distracted by.
I mean,
I really thought you did real math, but I love the.
No, that is actually real math. That is Pittsburgh is actually, it's technically 4.75% water.
There you go. I guess playing off of that, Walty again played a great game. He is, this season, it has just been his season so far, and I love to see it. He is doing fantastic, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him these last 2 games especially. So
no, I agree, and I think that what's so great about it is the things that he's asked to do are not the things that are going to show up on end of season stats. But he has been an absolute rock at that defensive midfield position, and he's dropping back, allowing the team to be more flexible in defense. He's stepping forward, contributing to the offense. I think he's one of those players that, and Laura Ellen talked about this in the Hey Sir, that he is just doing everything he needs to do and doing it right. And it is, you're right, Josh, it's a joy to watch. He's one of those players that I think by the end of the season, it's going to be so hard to look at him and say, is he not the best player on the field? Because he's not going to have any of the things that are statistically outstanding in terms of those end of the year stats that everybody gets recognized for. But I think what he brings to this team, not even least of all, his ability to play that position so well, freeing Griffin up to play in a more advanced role, is, I think, what makes this team, to me, look so much stronger than what we've seen even in the past couple of years, including the year that they won the Player Shield. That I think this team has the ability to perform better than that team. That team won that because they didn't give up goals, but he's providing that thing that I think Bob really is looking for in that transition and moving forward, and providing that offensive spark as well. So he's been a joy to watch all season, and it's great. So
he needs a big contract.
Hopefully,
Listen, if we don't snap him up, somebody's going to get him for free, and they're getting a stellar player on a free.
I mean, I do think that is the type of player that I can see Bob going after and trying to keep in Pittsburgh. If he was a forward, see you later. If he was a goalkeeper, adios.
Right. No, this is definitely, Bob loves his midfielders. I will say, he absolutely loves his midfielders.
I would love to see a mid-season signing, like a contract extension mid-season instead of waiting until the very end and hemming and hauling over it. And when he's getting other offers, snatch him up,
because he's going to get, just from the first 4 games, he has another game like this. There's going to be, he will have no shortage of opportunity
Yeah. No,
And
I mean,
and not even just in the US. I'm saying with the way he's been playing, I could see a second EPL2 or even a championship side saying, "Hey, we want you on our bench." Because he's
That's
showing
pretty.
potential.
that's a
He's a-
huge jump. That's a hot,
I say
hot
this.
take.
This is a very hot take, but look at his age. Look at what he's demonstrated at his age. He's what, 2-3 years out of college? Okay, so we're still talking about a player who technically hasn't even hit his peak yet, right? And we're seeing this out of him so far. He's got a lot of upside. It's a gamble, but it's got a lot of upside.
Okay, that's a big leap. Probably even bigger of a leap than Merch's Highmark hop after his goal this game. So
I'm not so sure. That was a pretty big hop.
Wow. All right. Well, Drew, I'm going to let you talk, but I'm not going to let you talk. I'm going to let Mondo talk.
Yeah.
It's time for Mondo's moment, the top moment of the game from the Mandalorian.
This week's Mondo moment comes from some off-the-ball action. Robbie Mertz, fresh off scoring his goal, effortlessly leaps the ad board into the Paul Child stand and the waiting arms of the Steel Army. That man doesn't need a jetpack. This is the way.
This has been Mondo's moment. Go Hounds.
So I am really glad that I was right, that's what you had for your Mondo moment.
Oh,
because
I
was
had
the
that
perfect
the second
segue.
it happened.
And I thought it was, but there was this glimmer of doubt.
The second, so I will say, Danny did challenge that with that absolutely Mandalorian effort, I will say, where he was just absolutely fearless. But that was just such a big leap for such a small boy.
And then also, I don't know if I think the
Robbie.
highlights show it, but oh man, I felt so bad because we pop smoke.
Yeah, he almost gets
Steve,
smoked in the face.
Yeah, Steve is holding the smoke, and then he hops up right into Steve's arms, and Steve is like, the smoke is right here, so he's like trying to hold it away from from Mertz's face, but he's holding him up at the same time as holding the smoke, trying to make sure it doesn't get in his face. And then Merch is just like, oh crap, smoke's everywhere. Oh crap, I can't get away from the smoke. So he finally jumps down, gets everyone to let go of him so he can jump down. After the game, I think he mentioned, he's like, yeah, I was tasting smoke for a while after that.
That is absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I just wish I could have seen that live in person, because everything about that just sounds great. Both the hop, which did not come through as clear on the game replay, but also that whole interchange with the Steel Army. But watching the Discord during a game where most people are at the stadium light up about that was absolutely a fun moment in that.
I mean, and so the other reason I had to do this is last week we had Griffin clearing a massive leap, right? So I was like, oh, I have to. I have to. There's no other option.
Yeah.
But he looked like he could have leapt the fence, not just the ad, because that's how just effortless that jump was. It looked like if he had tried, he would have been in the Paul Child stand.
Oh, for sure. He could have made it. He could have cleared that fence.
He could have absolutely made and that fence is a person tall.
It is at least one Mertz.
I was going to say, is it a short king tall?
It's definitely at least eye level when you're walking past it on the field. So if you've never been to Highmark Stadium and you're listening to this, that is the ad board itself is about 3 feet. And so he was able to jump that no problem. And the fence behind it, I think, is another 1.5 feet.
Yeah, I think it's close to 2 feet taller. Yeah,
2 feet.
because
Yeah,
I'm the same height as Mertz.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's at least eye level.
So and he it literally was in his stride, he ended up easily clearing it.
So what I am trying to figure out about that, right? Is that just an in the moment thing, or have these guys decided at some point that hey guys, we've got to get up into the field after EJ did that, or into the stands after EJ did that last year. We've got to show them up. Like, are they sitting there in their off time? Bob not knowing about this because Bob would lay into them so much and practicing their Highmark hops.
I mean, maybe they've convinced Bob that they need header practice, and it turned into
because nobody is tall.
Someday,
hey, Bob.
Get it.
Considering all the other teams are taller than us, can we practice jumping on things so we can?
Oh gosh, that's a good moment. I love the yeah, I love that segment. Like it is great, like, with the music and everything. And I'm glad that you ended it with "This is the way."
Another highlight from the Steel Army section last game was Van Okel. You know, the tradition of giving a lot of crap to the keeper of the opposing team, and Van Okel being of a certain age at this point in USL. Lots of old man chants. Lots of AARP, lots of oatmeal. Actually, I was walking before I even got into the section. I passed Jason Cutney for old time Hounds fans who remember Jason Cutney. He used to be a player, but I passed him and I, shook his hand. I said, "Hey, why aren't you out there? Van Okel's still out there." He's like, "I was making that joke earlier today." So yeah, that was a lot of fun too.
We had a good behind the scenes conversation where Laura Ellen, as no surprise, was talking about how she was surprised he was still on their team. And so I looked it up and I'm like, yeah, he is old. He's 38. And Justin's like, hey, that's not old. That's how old I am. And I'm like, I'm older than you. He's like, I'm 38. I don't want to be called old.
That's old for a soccer player, especially. Yeah. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. Hey guys, you know what time it is?
Uh-oh.
Tuxedo dress up party.
You know that girls know how to ask any
I am not going to be as good at this as Mike is, but we're just going to start and jump right in. So we have Barnes looking pretty simple, black hoodie, but that silver chain dropping around his neck looks pretty nice. Next, we've got a whole host of people, but primarily Danny Griffin, again, wearing a lot of black. I wish I could tell what it said around the collar of his hoodie, but that looks like it's a little like stonewashed or something to give it a vintage feel. But just the look on his face as well, just stone cold. He knows he's about to do something good tonight. This one,
I got add a comment.
I can tell you.
No. Go back. We'll go back. We'll go back to Griffin. Go ahead, Josh.
So if you see, I think it is on Dick's social media on his Instagram. He posted this picture and was just cracking up, saying like, Danny thought he had an Instagram moment, didn't he? We're ruining it. So yeah, they completely are like, oh, this is gonna be great.
It's premeditated.
Oh, for sure.
So this next one, Bradley Sample.
So his hoodie says, "I want this dream to go on forever," which is that's as DG as it's possible to be.
Yeah. He probably said, "This is for you, my wife," and yeah.
Drew, you're not allowed to comment on this one at all.
Why? It's such
because you'll get
look.
distracted. Vintage Chelsea jersey. It is beautiful. Love it. I know Drew does too, but I'm not going to let him go down a rabbit hole. This one, we've got Aiden with a NFL Kansas City varsity jacket and Randolph. Just looking cool. He just has a good look to him in this. He's got the boots. He's got the shirt buttoned open, showing off the white tee. But I don't know if that's as cool as the white tee that Robbie's got with this blue flannel. Just looks like he is like a man about campus, knows what he's about, and is ready to go, right?
I was going to say, this looks like it's taken right out of a campus recruiting brochure.
That's exactly what I was thinking, without trying not to say specifically that.
The best. This is
Augie,
This is fire.
This looks like he is at the fashion show. Just absolutely stunning. Those shades, love them.
I'm going to go on a tangent here. You guys might be too old for this. Augie might be too young for this. He looks like he's gone Super Saiyan here. Like,
How dare you say too old for Dragon Ball Z is like 100 years old.
like Augie is like, he's like ready for his "it's over 9,000" moment right here.
Yep. I like it. It's a
I
good
was
shout.
gonna say I was getting like Blade vibe just because like he looks like he's about ready to kill some vampires. But yeah, that works.
Yeah. We've got another double. So we've got Beto and Luke. And again, this one to me, this is pure college campus look. These guys just left class and they're ready for the weekend. They know they've got plans this evening and they're looking forward to it. They look relaxed. They look chilled. They're not worried about anything at this point.
That's a brochure for the fraternity though, not for the college.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at Jackson. I mean, again, another fun shirt. I wonder if all we're going to see from Jackson all season is just different shirts with some sort of graphic design on them that are t-shirts. But I mean, cool, calm, relaxed, let his hair down. Looks like he's ready to game.
I want to know what that coffee is. I want to know what's his order.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I don't even know where that's from. Maybe we'll have to ask him at some point. What's his coffee order? Mike, take notes.
I don't need to know his hair routine. I'm fine.
Yeah. There are those of us that don't need hair routines. And then we have got Jacqueline and Junior. I just want to say, I mean, these guys, I mean, you've got your French boys here, and they are definitely guys that don't have any qualms about wearing their pouches. And I think it is awesome and beautiful. I am not man enough to do that. I would not wear something like that, but they pull it off. And I think that's very sophisticated and European of them. And I love it.
Oh, but Steve, I have a matching pouch for you. You can match me. Right here.
He's getting his.
We can be twinsies. Look,
there you go.
You can wear
nice.
this one.
I was not prepared for that at all.
I have this one.
Why do you have two?
It's smaller than the other one.
So, are we choosing a winner?
I think we've got to choose a winner.
Oh, I vote Augie.
It's Augie. Although the photobombing from Max and Dick is pretty stellar. I still have to go Augie.
I am going Augie, but once again, I have to say that Jackson is number 2 for me. And I hope that this is a recurring theme all season, that whenever we do this, we're like, yeah, Jackson has a look, and it's a beautiful look, and it's fun. But somebody else is better.
All right, that's for
Dick
Mike's whiteboard.
Yep. So we're going with Augie this week. All right. So, guys, it's time to pick our player of the game. So, Drew, who's your player of the game?
Crap.
If you need time, I can go first.
Yeah, go first. Please go first.
Sweet. I can't steal it. It's going to be Mertz for me. I do think it's not just because of that goal, though. It's just everything else he was doing on the field. You mentioned the set pieces. Just his pass placement was great. The fact that he was, out there hustling. And I mean, there is some bias here whenever a player does the Highmark hop into the Steel Army section, gives them a couple extra points in my book. I think it has to be Mertz as number 1. The rest of them, though, I'll let you guys decide.
I think what Josh just said is, I choose number 1, you choose numbers 2 and 3.
I mean.
And Josh, we're okay with that because you're right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Mertz, but we can hear arguments for others. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I was having trouble deciding because it was hard for me to pick between the midfield trio of Robbie, DG, and Walty. So because you went with Mertz, I'm going to go with our other goal scorer and say DG, because that was absolutely heroic and he hung it out.
All right.
No, I agree with that.
I think those are both really good shouts. And I think, Robbie runs away with it for me this week. I am having the conversation in my head again all night and all morning today of who's number 2. Because I think you're right. It is that midfield trio that they all did everything right and looked really good. I'm going to give a shout out to, I think Aiden O'Toole had a much, much better game compared to last week. I want to recognize that. But for me, I still put Walty above Danny Griffin because I don't think this team is playing as well as they are without all the little things and big things that he's doing. And so I have a hard time putting him any lower than second. But I don't know. So I think that's our actual conversation is it's clearly Robbie. We've got to decide between, I think, Danny and Jackson for who's number 2 and who's number 3.
Other than Danny's goal, like what would you give him the 2 spot for?
That's pretty much that's pretty much it, I think, because the other thing is Danny spent a lot of this game pushed forward, but as we've discussed, without Walty in the back, Danny's not there, right?
Which
So
is why Walty gets the credit.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm thinking Walty gets the number 2 spot and then DG gets 3rd, because simply put, Walty's the anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of think it is. Mertz gets the player of the game this time around, then Walty second, and DG is 3rd. All 3 had a fantastic night, and I do think 2 and 3 is pretty neck and neck. But yeah, I think Walty just edges it out.
Yeah. I think what I love the most about Walty is for the first time in 5 years, I can look at this roster and not feel completely convinced that Danny Griffin is our best defensive midfielder. And that's absolutely makes me so joyful that I can actually think about it, and I have to think about it and ask the question, right? Like, is he? I don't know. Jackson is doing a stellar job.
It's not because DG's like lost a step. It's because everyone gained a step.
Right.
And it's really nice to have that problem now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they say good captains elevate their team, right? Mm-hmm. Or not good captains. Good captains are good. Great captains elevate their team. And I think that's what we're seeing from Danny as the team captain and Robbie as the vice captain. Like, they're bringing up the guys around them and then being further elevated by that. And I think that's what, like, we're seeing that like really nice, like, feedback loop. And it's great. Like, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any last thoughts?
I'll have one that's just another kind of like Steel Army thing is so Pablo, his dad hangs out in our section and is up cheering in the front with us the whole time.
Really?
And it's great to have Pablo Sr. in our section because he's a fantastic guy. So yeah, just shout out to the Pablos.
That's great. All right, so we have a week off this coming week. The Hounds have a week off. I think we'll probably be doing something. I don't know. Mike hasn't said. I'm sure we'll talk about something or other. Probably cover something about something that we get some news on, or revisit some of the conversations about the Riveters or something. But look for our content as we go. In the meantime, pay attention to the Hounds are not home again until May 3rd, May 6th, May 3rd? May 3rd. They're on the road after this off week in Charleston, Loudoun, and Detroit. So 3 challenging opponents, teams that are competitive, teams that I think we're going to want to see some good performances against just for vengeance sake at different times. But the good news is, and I think this was pretty on display last night in particular, that by the time the Hounds come back in May, there will be new turf on that field, and we won't see some of those slips that I think we were seeing throughout the game last night. And I am really excited about that. I'm sure you guys are as well. But that is just exciting that's one of the things in terms of some of the changes that the team is making to the stadium over the next few years. This is part of that first round of changes, is new turf on the field. So that's exciting. that's what we think. Let us know what you think. You know where to find us. Follow us on all of the social media, most of the social medias. Blue Sky, go check out our Substack if you haven't. Look up our videos on YouTube. And yeah, we will see you all fairly soon.
Later.
This is the way.